So I was listening to one of Joe Rogan's podcasts the other day, and he had the very cerebral, very intelligent, very well-spoken George St. Pierre on. And one of the things George St. Pierre talked about was how he doesn't really like championship belts or, champions. And what he basically said was, you're never the biggest, baddest, strongest guy on the planet, okay? Now, yes, at that time, on that date, you did beat this other person, but it doesn't mean that if you didn't fight an hour later or an hour earlier, or at a higher altitude or at a lower altitude, or against one of the other top 10 ranked people, that you would have won, okay? It just means you won this one fight on this one day at this one time. And that kind of leads into something I want to talk about in terms of strength goals, okay? Because I recently reached a couple of my strength goals, and people asked me about them, okay? Like, what are your next strength goals going to be? So here's my answer. Okay, first of all, the strength goals that I reached were 20 rep squats with 3 plates, 315 pounds, and 5 reps on the trap bar deadlift with 5 plates, which is about 500 pounds. Okay, and I don't want to go any heavier than that, but I do want to progress. So let's talk about my reasons for not wanting to go any heavier. I don't want to be a guy who, like, one day in his life deadlifted, 1,000,000 pounds and, his back's fucked up since that day, okay? Now, first of all, I don't want to be somebody who deadlifted like 1,000,000 pounds, because I don't consider myself a 1,000,000-pound deadlifter if I cannot replicate that on any day of the week, okay? So what a lot of people do when they lift weights, like Olympic lifting or powerlifting, is they'll do periodization, okay? They will lower their weights, then they'll start working in a progression, and they'll get their peak strength on this one day where they have like a powerlifting meet, okay, a competition. So the thing is, they aren't that strong. They just were, like George St. Pierre said, strong on that one day at that one time. Okay, and you can't ask them to do it a day later, a minute later, or an hour later, or a year later to do the same thing. They were that strong on that one day. And that, being somebody who actually doesn't compete in anything, is not something that I find very interesting at all. So when I talk about a strength goal, I don't mean like I did on this one day lift this whole lot of weight. What I mean is I did 5 reps with 500 pounds on the bar for trap bar deadlifts last week. I did the same thing this week, and I'm going to do the same thing next week. And as a matter of fact, even though I did it this morning, if you want, like, we could probably go to the gym right now and I could probably do it again, okay? So this isn't like a once in a lifetime thing. Yes, telling my grandson someday, like, yes, little boy, at one point I was really strong. I was the strongest man in the world. What I basically want to do is just maintain this amount of strength, okay? Number one. And number two is, like I said, I don't want to fuck myself up, okay? How strong can you get before you start actually damaging yourself, okay? Stan Efferdine, another very cerebral, very intelligent person, he had like a video on his YouTube channel where he talked about how when you get up to the elite level, when you become a professional, when you start competing, sport is basically unhealthy. It's like, by its nature, it's unhealthy. Your body wasn't meant to be a bodybuilder that weighs 300 pounds. I don't care if you're fat or you're muscle, you're not meant to weigh 300 pounds. It's very unhealthy. Your body wasn't made to lift so much weight, okay? I remember when I was a kid reading a magazine by a guy who used to be an Olympic weightlifter, like in college or whatever. He was pretty good, but he was, wasn't like a huge guy, and he said, he had back problems, and it's like, okay, he actually has to question himself, like, was the human body meant to take a barbell that weighs several hundred pounds, throw it up over your head, catch it with your arms extended over your head, and hold it there? Was the human spine meant to do that? So what I'm basically saying now is I've gotten to a point where I build a level of strength that I think really walks the line between being sustainable and being impressive, okay? Building muscle, building strength, but not being so heavy that it's breaking down my body, okay? And you just have to look at Ronnie Coleman. I mean, Ronnie Coleman did, what was it, deadlifts with or squats with what was it, like 700 pounds or something like that. And, his whole body's fucked up from lifting heavy ass weights now. And it's very impressive what he did. But I mean, just for like these couple sets that he did in his life that were really, really, really heavy, I mean, his whole body's screwed up. So like I said, it's like I've gotten to a point right now where I can maintain this at 44 years old, be fucking strong as fuck, be big as fuck, okay, and still be healthy, okay, and like I said, still maintain it. But I do want to progress. So let's go ahead and start talking about how I can progress without increasing weight, because there are ways to progress without necessarily throwing more poundage on the bar. Now, I'm a big fan of throwing poundage on the bar, and that's how I got this strong, was concentrating on throwing pounds on the bar, okay, throwing more weight on the bar and lifting more weight. But now that I've reached those goals, okay, with sheer weight, there are other ways to improve me as a person, to make myself stronger and to build more muscle, okay, and to be healthier, to actually build my body instead of breaking it down without adding more weight. So let's talk about this, okay? My form on the trap bar deadlift was great. It was really good, okay? Really good. What can I do? Okay, well, first of all, my form's great. I went all the way up, went down, touch and go, touched it to the ground, the weight plates to the ground, brought it up again, touched the weight plates to the ground and brought it up again. One way that I can make this exercise a whole hell of a lot harder, okay, without actually increasing the amount of weight on the bar, is to go down and set the bar on the ground. So that means set it on the ground, and from a dead stop, pull it up again. So it's not like go down, barely touch and up, go down, barely touch and up. It's like go down, set the bar on the ground and do another. Okay, so basically instead of doing 5 reps, you're doing like 5 singles with a dead stop in the beginning of every single rep. A lot harder and a lot different than if you just go ahead and do the touch and go. Another thing is, how about this? Okay, one of the ways that I actually worked up to 5 plates was by actually decreasing my volume, okay? I used to always do 2 heavy sets at least with every weighted exercise, but what I did to get up to this weight was just 1. So I did like a set with 1 plate, 2 plates, 3 plates, 4 plates. Yes, 4 plates was like 400 some odd pounds, was like one of my warm-up sets. And then I just really put all my effort into this 1 set. Well, what if I go ahead and I do 2 sets of 5 with 500 pounds? It's the same weight, it's the same rep range, okay? And I'm just doing double the volume, okay? I'm doing, instead of 5 reps, I'm doing 2 sets of 5 reps. So that's another way that I will be able to build muscle, build strength, just build everything that happens to your body when you lift weights, without actually increasing the amount of weight that I'm lifting per se. Okay, now let's move over to the squats. My squats are with good form, okay? There's nothing where I don't lean forward rather. I don't lift my ass and then lift my shoulders separately. I mean, I do really good form. That's why I have not hurt myself doing any of these exercises. Is my form absolutely positively perfect? No, of course it's not. I'm pushing myself, so of course it's not. So let's see a couple different things that I can do to make my squats harder without actually lifting more weights. Well, one thing I've noticed is that I ever so slightly kind of coast my ass over to the right side when I come up. So like I go down into the squat and then I kind of push a little bit more my right leg. Well, if I have perfect ass form, I guess that makes sense, where I have my ass in the middle and I don't go a little bit to the side, that's going to be an improvement in form. There's a reason why I'm doing that right now. When I correct that, that means I've strengthened the part that was so weak that I had to go to the side. Okay, am I going all the way down? Yes. Am I going all the way down? No, I'm not. Okay, so by increasing my range of motion, I'm going to make it a lot harder, okay, without adding weight. Am I going like down where like the tops of my thighs are a little bit below parallel? No, I'm not. Okay. Am I pausing at the bottom? It's just the same thing, like I said, with a deadlift, where you go ahead and you do the touch and go reps are harder than setting the bar on the ground and then picking it up and doing like 5 singles in a row instead of like just touch and go reps. So, if I were to go ahead, go to the bottom of the squat, tops of my thighs below parallel, as vertical as I can be and just wait there for a second or two and then push off, that's obviously a lot harder. Okay, 20 rep squats. The way you do 20 rep squats is you basically take your 10 rep max and you do 20 reps before you put the bar down. So that means you do your 10 reps and you're sucking. You just take a few breaths and you do a couple more reps and you take a few breaths, you do a couple more reps, and now you're at 14, and and then maybe you get in one more set of 2 reps, or maybe you just have to do a whole bunch of sets of 1. But the bottom line is you pick the bar up and you do not put it down until you've done 20 reps. So what's another way to do this and make it a lot harder without adding weight? Well, let's say, if you go from doing 10 reps in a row to doing 12 or 13 or 17 or all 20 reps in a row. So once again, you're using the same amount of weight, but you're making it obviously a lot harder. It's a lot harder to do, perfect form than it is to do very, very good form. It's a lot harder to do 20 reps in a row than it is to do 10 and then 2 and then 2 and etc. So those are a couple different ways. As a matter of fact, if you want to see like what my real goal right now is, okay, it's not to increase weight, but my goal right now for the squats is to be like the guy who escapes me right now. Can't believe I forgot his name. The wrestler guy, like the guy who kind of took over for The Rock when The Rock left, been in movies lately, and I can't fucking believe I forgot his name. But the bottom line is, if you watch some of this guy's training videos when he does squats, he just kind of like sits down, sits back, perfect. He's not leaning forward, his ass goes back, his knees are, not over his toes, and he goes deep, deep, deep and stays there for a couple seconds. No expression in his face. He just kind of sits down there for like a couple seconds, and then he pushes off all the way up again. And he just does it. He just drops down, sits there, goes down under control, sits there, sits back, hips back, weight on his heels, couple seconds, and then he pushes back up again. And it's really incredible to watch this guy do those. So that's like my goal right now. Okay, my goal right now is to get to the point where I'll probably add another set or 2 of 5 reps with a trap bar, not increase the weight. Then I'll try to go ahead and set the bar down on at least a couple of the sets in between. And like I said, for the squats, I just want to get my form really squeaky clean, maybe get a pause in between reps, maybe get all the 20 reps knocked out at the same time, and that way I'm going to be able to get a lot stronger and a lot bigger while not killing my body by lifting an inhumanly amount of weight. Because like I said, 20 reps with 1.5 times my body weight, 5 reps on the deadlift with 2.5 times my body weight, pretty good for an old man at 44. Guys, if you're interested in this kind of training video, definitely check this out. Okay, I'm going to be coming up with a new program specifically to build size and strength without getting fat, okay, and without getting injured. A lot of the principles that I've been screwing around with for like the last 2 years are going to come into here. So I'm really glad that I've postponed putting out this program for so long. It's going to include different diets. It's not going to be like a diet or workout program. It's really going to be like taking you by the hand from the beginning until the end, exactly what to eat, exactly which diet to go on, and which phase of the program, workout tutorials, exactly how to do every exercise, like with exercise tutorials, etc., etc., etc. And before I do that, I'm going to be putting out videos that explain things I've learned along the way that are going to obviously become components of the program. So what I want you guys to do is go to anaerobics.com/raw size and strength, okay? And what that's going to be is a place where you could give up your email address, and when I put up a video like this, you're going to be able to get it. You'll get notified that it came out. And another thing is I'm going to put out a really long video that explains everything, like a really long seminar that explains the whole program front to end, exactly how it works, okay? And I definitely want you guys to see that, completely free. Obviously, I'm going to be doing that to sell the course when it comes out. But the idea is, like I said, it's going to be completely free until then, okay? So anaerobics.com/raw size and strength. And if you're watching this in Instagram, I'm going to put the link in the description. And if you're watching this in YouTube, the link's going to be right below the video. Definitely give me put in your email address for that. And other than that, I'll see you guys in the next workout video.